Hey everyone, Dan the Trading Man here. This afternoon going to cover NVIDIA and Tesla, where we are currently in the markets based off Fibonacci levels, and where we could potentially go from where we are. If you are returning, thanks a lot for subscribing and helping us out. If you're new and you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and share. It really helps us out a bunch. So starting with NVIDIA, on the max time frame here at the top left, we're going to maximize this sell. We had a full 50% long from zero to its high of 2021. That traded 173, and then we ended up rallying to a target of 428. Now, we do have this current setup, high to high setup here, 50% level 433. So there could be some potential buyers that come into NVIDIA in those 430s. If we were to break below 410 and really 400, taking out this prior higher low here, then we may see a run to then fill the gap, and that's going to line up with our next daily 50% long setup, 305. This would be a massive level that could trade in NVIDIA, and a setup that I would certainly be paying attention to and likely be looking to get into NVIDIA with if we got down to 305. Something I want to point out is that this high to high setup that we are seeing at 433, this did trade before. This traded off of 414 and then rallied to its target of 513 after the earnings. Now, if we take the same setup to the new high, that's where we get this current 433 level. And so again, there could be some buyers coming in here. If we break below 400, then this setup might be broken. And because of that, we could head lower to our next larger time frame support, which in this case is 305. And then if this were to fail for whatever reason, you could simply take the same setup that we had initially to its new high, and that would be our max full 50% long around 250. But that would be a massive setup. And just as a reference to see how this has played out before, Pan W is a good example, where there was a 50% long that traded during the pandemic in 2020, and then we saw the next 50% long come into play down the road later. And that's what we're looking at here with NVIDIA. Basically, again, if we were to break this current long setup in the 430s, then we have room to run down to test the next 50% long 305. Targets above, where can NVIDIA go? Well, we have a second target from the initial 50% long at 561. So that target is still there. And that's also going to line up with the target from the high to high setup at 433. So 560s could be where NVIDIA goes to next if this current long setup at 430s gets buyers. Moving into Tesla now. This one, let's go to the daily time frame and talk about it. It traded a 50% long low to high for the year. So 2023, 50% long traded 100 and basically 60 if we round up here. And then it completed the target at 245 and 289. At that point, we started to see a pullback. And just like we have that potential setup in NVIDIA, Tesla has this next low to high setup using the swing low of the first setup to our new high. 226, again, if we round up, is that level. That is what has traded recently in Tesla. In the trade room that we have, we talked about this, and on our new website, FibonacciForecasting.com, talked about this as well. And I did get long Tesla around 230. So far, it's going well. We will see if we can get to the target of 334. There is also a second target of 390. Something that recently happened that gives me confidence in a move higher to continue here for Tesla is that if we look at the first setup here, if we draw an opposing 50% short, we can see 185 traded. And then we ended up breaking above that red level, 193. And then we continued. We then headed to our targets, and then we pulled back. Tesla recently ran into its opposing 50% short at 255. And for those in the trade room, we talked about this. When we come into this resistance, it's an area where the sellers could try to get control back. and it was holding for a little bit. And then recently we broke above 266 and we're starting to get closes above this, which means that it's more likely that we continue higher now than head lower because we've broken this short setup. Nothing is ever certain in the markets, we know that, but because we broke above this short setup, it's a good sign that we're likely going to continue higher, potentially to a higher high. And then after that, we could see 334, and again, that second target as well at 390. So those are the targets above there for Tesla. If Tesla were to get some selling and pull back more, it could retest 226. It could also pull into a full 50% long around 201. And the other option is that it actually could trade a 50% long from our recent swing low because we've broken that opposing short. And that's a 245, 246 area. So this is a setup that can certainly come into play. We've seen it before in other stocks and in Tesla. And so we'll keep an eye out and see if this inside 50% long does come into play. And just to point it out, when Tesla traded 226, like I said, I had some orders to go long 230. I always put orders in front of these levels because sometimes you don't test them. But anyways, I did have more orders below at the full 50% long. You never know for certain which setup is going to hold. And so I had orders at 205 as well in Tesla, which would have been for that full 50% long below. And then if we break below the 170s, then we got to consider the position. Is it worth cutting it and taking our losses, everything there? And if you look at it, this is essentially your risk, right? If we were to say that we got into Tesla around that next 50% long and then around 170, 160 we cut, we're going to risk this right here. And this is what I'm potentially going to lose per share. But I'm looking to gain at least this first target. And we can see the risk reward there is then worth it. And we're going to have potentially a nice trade play out. And of course, if you get to that second target, it becomes even larger, right? So I just want to point that out as well. It's all about risk reward here with trading and investing. That's all I got though with NVIDIA and Tesla. Again, just talking about the current setups that are in play, where we could likely go from here higher or lower. And then lastly, I'll finish with FibonacciForecasting.com. We just launched this website recently. You can still join the free Discord. We do have the trade room, which is that premium Discord, which has plenty of channels and live trading and a couple admins. Currently right now in the plans, we have the futures analysis. We're going to get analysis on S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, Dow, VIX, oil, gold, and silver. That's every single day, a written analysis with the Thinkorswim levels for the hourly or 4-hour time frame. And those levels will be sent out every morning along with the written analysis. And then once a week, we may have a video going over the bigger picture there with those products. On the other hand, we have the stock analysis, and this is going to cover 20 plus stocks that we have listed. And that list may change monthly as some stocks are not performing as well as others. We may just drop those and look at something new. And that's going to be just like this grid that we have here that we've been going over. It's going to give you the max, the daily, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour. And you're going to get those Thinkorswim levels for all of those stocks. It will be in a spreadsheet. It will also have potential areas for entries or exits for targets and things like that. And there will be videos, typically 2 videos breaking it up in half. So it'll be 10 to 15 stocks in one video, 10 to 15 stocks in another video each month covering these levels and where these stocks could go. And that's for $30 a month. The futures analysis has a free trial with it. If you do join the trade room, you are essentially getting this in the trade room anyways. So you could spend the $20 per month for the futures analysis, or you could join the trade room for $149 one-time payment, and then you'll have this every day anyways. So that's all I got. Just wanted to point this website out. If you find the video helpful, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It really does help a lot. And I will catch you guys in the next video.